it has been given to him from heaven. That is one of the most beautiful, explosive verses that one could ever read. I'll tell you, if we understood that verse, we would never envy anyone who has more gifts and abilities than we do. We would never be jealous of anyone. We'd be able to rejoice in the success of any person, either in the business world or in what we generally call ministry. We would be absolutely free in our spirits if we understood that a man can receive nothing except it is given to him from heaven. Somebody with more ability and better looks than you or me, we'd be able to rejoice, because if they have it, God gave it to them. And he has the right to give to some people one thing and to others another. A man can receive nothing except it be given to him from heaven. And then he says, verse 30, he must increase, but I must decrease. John says, it's okay for me, for my ministry to be over. It's okay for me to go lower as long as a result Christ goes higher. Now I want you to turn in your Bibles to 1 John chapter 2, and this is the last passage I'll ask you to turn to today, because if you haven't noticed it, and maybe you have, the three examples that I've given you, God versus sexual temptation, God versus possessions, and God versus success, are really delineated for us in 1 John chapter 2, verse 15 and 16. It says, do not love the world, nor the things that are in the world. If anyone loves the world, the love of the Father is not in him. For all that is in the world, here we go now, the lust of the flesh, that's what Joseph encountered. The lust of the eyes, that was Job's problem, or at least God wanted to test whether he had that problem. And the boastful pride of life, the question of John the Baptist's success. All of these struggles, you see, that we face are really the choice between God or the things of this world. And the world is passing away, and also its lusts. But the one who does the will of God abides forever. Notice it says, if you love the world, if you make wrong choices, if you choose the things that these three people didn't choose, you do not love God, but the love of the world is in you. What's the bottom line? Let me give you three brief conclusions. The first is that every trial, every temptation asks us to choose God. And you see, we indicate where we stand in our relationship with God by the choice that we make. We yield to temptation. We devalue him in our minds and hearts. Now, of course, nobody can really devalue God because he is inherently worthy. We know that. But in our minds, we're saying he's not important because I have decided to choose that which he hates. And I love it, and I'm going to do my own thing. Now you understand why life is so difficult. What is God up to? God is up to training us and wooing us and drawing us so that we might love him so supremely that when faced with trials and temptations, we may always say, God, you are worth more to me than anything else, and I will choose in your direction no matter how difficult it becomes. And even when it appears as if you are opposed to me, I will assume that your word is true, that you are for me, and I'm going to hang in with you no matter what. And what did Peter say? The trial of your faith is more precious than gold that perishes, that it may be found unto honor and glory and praise at the appearing of Jesus Christ. That's what God's up to. Glorifying his name through your decision and mine to follow him, no matter what. You see, long ago I've learned that you can warn people about sin all you like, and it doesn't help much. Helps a little, but not much. The much greater attraction is developing our relationship with God. And when we love him, sin does not look good. Let me give you a second conclusion. Very important. When we choose for God, we are choosing for ourselves. When we choose for God, we are choosing for ourselves. You see, Satan has set up a false dichotomy. The impression sometimes is given that as Christians, in facing what we call temptation, the real question is, do I do what is good for myself or do I do what is good for God? That's nonsense. That's not the issue. Because when I choose God and value Him, I choose that which is best for myself. Well, this is Pastor Lutzer, and my friend, today I have always said that the only way that we can keep ourselves pure is when we develop a passion for Jesus Christ that is greater than our passion to sin. And that relationship with Jesus Christ is developed through prayer, through reading the Word, through worship with other believers, through watchfulness. I hope today that you and I do those things that will develop a love for Christ that will make sin look bad. Let's do that today.
Thank you, Dr. Lutzer. Erwin Lutzer has brought part 2 of Souls in Conflict, part of his current series on What is God Up To? Next time on Running to Win, more on why obeying God is always best. We at Moody Church believe this 8-part series will help you understand God's overall plan for the human race. What is God Up To can be yours on CD as our thank you when you give a gift of any amount to support Running to Win. For details, call us at 1-800-215-5001. That's 1-800-215-5001. Online, go to offerrtw.com. That's offerrtw, all one word, .com. Or write to Running to Win, Box 11174, Chicago, Illinois, 60611. This is Dave McAllister. Join us tomorrow for our next edition of Running to Win.